Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I'll request everyone to keep your phones in silent mode. As we gather here today for the significant conference on investor protection in the digitalized world, role and criticality of financial advisors, I am honored to extend a warm welcome to each and everyone present here. This event stands as a testament to our commitment to safeguarding investors' interest in an evolving financial landscape. Today's seminar is a collaboration of National Council of Applied Economic Research, that is NCAER, and the IEPFA, that is Investors Education Protection Fund Authority, under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, along with National Stock Exchange of India Limited, to address the importance of investor protection. Today's session brings the industry experts to you, and there will be a huge learning opportunities for each and every one of us. Let me introduce the institutions in brief. IPFA, that is the Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority, under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, was set up in 2016. The authority is entrusted with the responsibility of administration of the Investor Education Protection Fund, make refunds of shares, unclaimed dividends, mature deposits, debentures, etc., to investors, and to promote awareness among investors through various initiatives, specifically in rural areas. NCAER, established in 1956, is India's oldest and largest independent non-profit economic policy research institute. The promise of NCAER is to ask the right questions, gather good evidence, analyze it well, and share the results as widely as possible. IPF Research Chair Unit at NCAER aims to promote investor awareness. On this line, we try to conduct seminars, webinars, and workshops to reach out as much audience as we can through different types of workshops covering areas on how to protect oneself from fraudulent schemes and scammers, role of personal data protection bill that has been recently passed, and many others such initiatives. National Stock Exchange, NSE, is an institution of national importance and international stature, as we all know. They are a trusted market infrastructure institution with high standards of corporate governance, a homegrown brand with a global vision. NSE is counted as one of the world's largest exchanges and a catalyst for driving India's economic growth. NSE and NCAER has collaborated even earlier for such events, but after the establishment of IPF Chair Unit at NCAER, this is for the first time that IPF, NCAER, and NSE has jointly collaborated to arrange an awareness program of this stature. Before we begin the session, we request you all to rise for the national anthem. Yes. Before we embark on this insightful journey, let us take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and dedication that has brought us together. A special thanks to the esteemed Managing Director of NSE, Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, for gracing us with his presence. We begin today's program by seeking the blessings of the divine power by lighting the auspicious lamp. I invite Dr. C.S. Mahapatra, IPF Chair Professor at NCAER, Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand, General Manager of IPFA, Mr. Ashwini Bhatia, Whole-Time Member, SEBI, Mr. B.C. Patnaik, Whole-Time Member, IRDAI, Ms. Padmaja Chunduru, MD and CEO, NSDL, Mr. Nilesh Shah, MD, Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, and our host for the day, Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, MD and CEO, NSE. Last but not the least, Dr. Harish Ahuja. I would now request Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan to welcome the dignitaries with bouquets of flowers and memento. Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand, General Manager, IPFA. May I request you, sir, to come on the stage? Dr. C.S. Mahapatra, IPF Chair Professor at NCAER. Mr. Ashwini Bhatia, Whole-Time Member, SEBI. Mr. B.C. Patnaik, Whole-Time Member, IRDAI. Ms. Padmaja Chunduru, MD and CEO, NSDL. Mr. Nilesh Shah, MD, Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. Thank you, Mr. Chauhan, for doing the honors. Sir, please, you can sit on the stage. As we delve into the heart of today's discussion, I am reminded of a powerful quote by Warren Buffett. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. In today's digitalized world, where financial landscapes are rapidly transforming, the role of financial advisors in guiding investors through these complexities is more critical than ever. Our introductory address by Dr. Harish K. Ahuja, Head PhD, Investor Awareness Services and Primary Market Relationships of National Stock Exchange, will set the tone of today's discussion, highlighting the pivotal importance of investor awareness and primary market relationships in the dynamic era. May I request Dr. Ahuja to please come and address the audience.
Dr. C.S. Mahapatra, Chair IPF, Shri Ashwini Bhatia, whole-time member SEBI, Shri V.C. Patnaik, whole-time member IRDI, Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan, MD CEO, NSE, Srimati Padma Chundru, MD and CEO, NSTL, Shri Nilesh Shah, MD Kotak Mahindra, Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anandji, General Manager IPFE, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, other senior officer, dignitary, media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and warm welcome. First of all, on behalf of NSE, I would like to welcome all of you here in this very important and crucial topic, investor protection in digitalized world, the role of financial advisor and criticality of it. As you are all aware that after me, Mr. Ashish Chauhan and then Tushar Anand will also be speaking. But I think let me set the context here. The topic which we are talking to as a panel discussion is quite contemporary and very interesting, especially when we can look forward for a very pioneering and very unique perspective from the three key industries present here: stock market, mutual fund, and insurance. I think all the two regulators and the stalwarts of this industry are present between us, and we are looking forward to a very unique perspective. The number I like to share here is very important. I was told that there are today, as on today, 32 crore active insurance policy holders. There are 8 crores unique PAN registered with the stock market like NSE, 4 crore active mutual fund investors. Now, if I assume that this 32 crore policy holder also own the mutual fund, or for that matter, they participate in the stock market, then today we have representative of the industry from 32 crore unique investors in this room. And I think when they'll talk, we need to listen. One more data, in fact, this 35 crore or 32 crore represent almost 25% of investor in the population of the country. So I'm looking forward with you, in fact, to listen to their unique perspective. I would like to put across three very important points for this panel and the next speakers, which I thought are quite contemporary. The first and foremost is common regulatory framework. I'm just talking about behalf of NSE. NSE does almost 6,000 plus IAPs, investors program, both online and physical mode, some with the help of SEBI, most with the help of our smart trainer registered by SEBI. We do almost millions of SMS, email again on investor protections. We do thousands of media bites. We share podcasts. So much content is being created and generated and shared with all the investors across year. Similarly, I think it is being done by BSE or for that matter NSTL. So a lot of resources are being invested here. And who doesn't remember the word mutual fund sahi hai? वैसे कल थोड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग था जब इंडिया के लिए कुछ भी सही नहीं चल रहा था. So mutual fund सही है, थोड़ा ठीक नहीं लग रहा था, but it's okay. I think the fun, I'm just joking here. So I think similar media programs are being run by RDI and their MIIs. So overall, a lot of money is being invested. I'm very confident here that SEBI has already started a process where we have been asked as MIIs, NSDL, BSE, CDCL, us, NSE, that please come together and work on some common themes so that you can put a data at one point. So there are general common uniform theme which every MI shares with the people, investors like do your research before you invest for long term, do consistent and regular investment, diversify your portfolio, don't share your password and user ID. These are a general common theme every MIs share. I think this common theme, SEBI also acknowledged that everybody is sharing, and why to invest too much money here, why don't we consolidate the data, content at what place, and then shoot out to investors. But there are certain specific, very unique content which is shared by us, be stock market, mutual fund, or for that matter, insurance, like do not buy penny stocks because they are prone to pump and dump and front running. SIP sahi hai, like you, for a mutual fund. ULIP and pure insurance products are different and they should be treated differently. They should not be merged together. So I believe that similar to SEBI, I request Dr. C.S. Mohapatra here that, they are sitting in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Mr. Colonel Saab is also here. Why don't we talk about a common regulatory framework where we can combine our resources, our toolkit, and processes where, a common theme message could be go across, and we can save a lot of cost also. So this is my first point which I like to put across before all these regulators and industry leaders. The second thing which I like to put across is prevalence of type 1 and type 2 error and how to reduce it. So this is a very important point, in fact, I like to make. Type 1 error is error of commission. So just for example, that whenever, you should not do something and you do, it is called type 1 error. Like I know that eating cheeseburger is not good for my health, but I keep eating, especially when I watch the matches, which is not good. So it's a health advisory, but I keep doing it. It's called type 1 error. It's called error of commission. And the type 2 error is error of omission. What we should do, but we don't do. Like we know we should be regular touch with our school friends, college friends, we should talk to our parents every day basis or meet them regularly, but we don't do this. So it's called type 2 error. I think similar in parlance of investor is there. So like for example, type 1 error for investor is they keep investing in penny stocks. Uninformed, not that quite confident retail investor invest in FNO. So this is a kind of type 1 error, and type 2 error is again, they know they should do something, but they don't do this. So type 2 error could be, I should do my research before investing, or for that matter, I should conserve my resources before investing in long term, not spend my money in penny stocks, or should not do FNO, something like that. But we don't do that. I think it is a fact, it's a proven study that type 1 error, doing type 1 error, people lose more money. It's called error of commission. Type 2, if you omit some stocks or don't invest on time, doesn't matter. But if you do a lot of activity, if you're very active in the market, most of the time, because our ancestors are monkey, and we have monkey minds, so we remain very active, and many a times this error of commission lose a lot of money for us. And I like to cite an example here. In this world where everything digitized, when the Gen Z and the millennial people are constituting around 74% of our investors, they're quite active on the internet, in fact. So their monkey mind is more active, in fact, and that they push them to do type 1 error. I would like to again cite this point here that how exactly regulators are working to avoid this monkey behavior or this, how can they inculcate financial behavior which will stop this habits of doing type 1 error of commissioning. So the second point. Third point, which is very important thing, is we should remember the Warren Buffett golden rules. The rule number 1 is never lose money, and rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. But again, I think when we see this millennial and especially Gen Z, 25% population, they are in the market to make more money. So I think many times they ignore this golden rules of Warren Buffett. And I think the fin-influencer lobby, I'm not saying the financial advisor, but fin-influencer lobby, because they are their consumers, millennial and Gen Z, they push them to grow rich, fast solutions. They sell them to grow rich, fast solutions. And in that they do the more errors. I think we need to sensitize again the investor how to not forget the Warren Buffett rules. And again, the same rule to never lose money, and rule number 2, keep rule number 1 in your mind always. So I think I'm quite excited, in fact, to look forward to this industry stalwarts, our regulators, how exactly they address multiple other points, including these 2 points. Thank you very much. I give best of wishes to all the industry stalwarts and the people here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now we are eagerly anticipating for a welcome address by the Managing Director and CEO of NSE, Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan, whose vision has been instrumental in driving innovation and progress within our financial ecosystem. He is an Indian business executive, administrator, and current Chancellor of University of Allahabad. In July 2022, Chauhan sir became the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of National Stock Exchange Limited. He was the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange. He also serves as the member of Governing Council of one of the premier B school in India, that is IIM Raipur. He is best known as the father of modern financial derivatives in India and is considered one of the foremost experts in financial market policies, information technology, organized retail, telecommunication, and Indian social issues. Please join me in welcoming him with a round of applause. Sir, please.
Shri C.S. Mohapatra, Shri Ashwani Bhatia, Shri B.C. Patnaik, Srimati Padmaja Chandru, Shri Nilesh Shah, Shri Tushar Anand, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, and my colleagues, it's a pleasure and honor to be in front of you. A few points I will take up in welcoming all of you, and also probably that can set a stage for discussion, is that we want to protect investor in digitized world, right? That is the topic for today's discussions, and I'm delighted that there are many people wanting to listen to this. So first, we need to figure out who is an investor, because sometimes we may be trying to protect somebody who may not need protection, and that's where for me is an investor who is putting money in fixed deposit. Is it an investor? Is a person buying stocks? Is it an investor? If a person buying health insurance policy, is she an investor? A life insurance, person buying life insurance policy, is she an investor? A person buying a derivatives contract, a futures, is he an investor? An option, is he an investor? And so on and so forth. So first and foremost, who is an investor itself is not defined, and that also leads to what I call everything and nothing. Whenever anyone wants to write about investor, it can go on in any direction, and still that proverbial investor is so illusory. A person investing in Sahara Shree's activity is an investor. Second thing is, what does he or she need protection from? Because you want to protect, but for what? So that also needs to be figured out, that what is it that we need to protect him or her from, and what are the ways in which you need to do it? By having some sort of a self-awareness, which is one layer of activity, or being a complete protector, that wherever he or she lives or moves or sleeps, somebody has to be there hovering, giving protection, like Bhagavan Krishna or somebody. So what is it that layers of protection, what is the structure of protection, how it is to be done, why it is to be done, how other countries are doing. Between me and Mr. Mohapatra, or Dr. Mohapatra, we have been on the different side of the same spectrum for last almost 32 years. And we have discussed quite a lot and worked quite a lot in that area. There was a paper or a discussion group called FSLRC. Some of you might like to go back and read up those papers and those discussions. That might give you an kind of an idea of what needs to be done. And there are dichotomies and so on and so forth. Now, what layer of people need what type of protection? A large sort of a group or a large investor investing in thousands of crores or hundreds of crores, even crores, is it is the person similar, does he need similar protection as a person who puts in 10,000 rupees? Does his need of a person with 100 crore exposure is very similar to person with 10,000 always? Which are the needs which are not similar? What kind of protection that is required? How much protection that is required? And that is where we need to we are debating, and then life keeps on changing. So what we were debating in a physical avatar about fake certificates, and many of you who are young might not have even heard of what is a fake certificate, but we have lived through that. And so the life moved and it became completely digital in a span of 30 years. And still the other side of the protection, it is protection in terms of awareness, protection from being trained. I mean, person who is trained is a better investor or a better user of financial services. And other part is, how does this differ, the financial consumer protection, how does it differ from a physical goods consumer protection? Because many times we sit on the other side on consumer protection frameworks, which are about a mixer grinder not working or giving currents, and hurting the person using, or the money is taken but it's not given back, and the product is not working. So that type of consumer sort of protection, or something you consume by buying and then you fall ill, that also requires some sort of a consumer protection. Why is the financial services, which includes banking, which includes mutual funds, which includes stockbroking, which includes insurance, which includes literally everything to do with finance vis-a-vis others, is that finance, you have to get back the money. In the other side, that is, if you buy mixer grinder or television or a mobile, you get the product, and then the relationship is between you and the product, and sometimes it works, doesn't work, service has to be done. On this side, we need to get you back the money, and you are exercising your choices. You have myriad of choices, millions and millions choices, as I think my colleague Harish also mentioned about ULIP versus normal insurance policy. They look the same, they behave the same, but they are not the same, right? And so you have myriad choices and you make those choices. How do you make those choices? And then what all comes along with it is in terms of your obligations, in terms of your rights, in terms of the protection, and so on and so forth. So those are the things, if we don't do that, then we are basically going to talk like what we used to talk in terms of the financial inclusion. At least 20 out of my 32 years, I kept on discussing financial inclusion, and there used to be great conferences like this across India and across the world, and we used to be very elaborate and sort of also very, very particular about using acronyms so none of you understand. But basically, it was only talks. Execution was difficult. As soon as Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile came, every type of inclusion became possible. So, will there be a technological solution, or will there be a additional solution? There were, I think, 2 years back or a year back, some people met me from Bangalore, and Bangalore has again a unique advantage, who can think out of box. They have changed India, and they want to change India further. And so they were trying to save India from, or Indian investors, from all credit risk of the bonds default. And I was very impressed by their vision, saying if they can create some India stack, it will solve everything, like what happened in Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile. And then I sent them a book called First 5,000 Years of Debt, saying credit risk, if you can predict and solve, then you will be solving entire concept of time, right? When you start the Mahabharat, Mahabharat, that is what comes, Main Samay Hoon. So it comes literally, you are solving the concept of time only when you solve the credit part of it and all. But overall, there are many and sort of myriad issues, but one of the larger issues which I think we can solve to create protection is basically suitability standards for every financial product. A person who is in class 1 cannot, in a kindergarten or class 1, cannot be giving exams or taking exams of PhDs. We want to treat all of them as kindergarten, which is not true. we want to treat all of them as PhDs, which is not true. So somewhere the product suitability, if we don't get, then the risk and return kind of frameworks doesn't come into play. And then whom to protect, how to protect, where to protect, how much to protect becomes very difficult. The digital part has made life that much more easier for every investor or every consumer, but it has become life much more easier for the scamsters. They are able to scale up so much, and it could be different types of issues. It could be using up your hard-earned savings to buy something completely different and deliver it to third party only as a prank. Or it could be actually taking your hard-earned money in your EPF accounts and siphoning it off, or from the stock market giving you some sort of advice and impressing you, by which you end up buying some options or even stocks, and then that prices actually it goes against you. So all sorts of sort of newer or older varieties, but in a much more scalable, newer way things have come. So in digital world, all of us have to be much more particular. I'm sure some of you would have seen that TV serial called Jam Tara. If you have not seen, watch it up, because most of us don't invest in stock markets. Most of us have insurance policies, which again is not that traded heavily. But every day we transact a lot, right? And we pay taxes and all sorts of things happen. But the way the Jam Tara framework works, now I've been told even in Jam Tara is a place in, I think, Jharkhand. But it is famous for siphoning of people's money using OTPs and other things, and also sort of inciting you to pass on your passwords and other things to them. But those kind of things earlier also used to happen, hoodwinking or impersonation. Now it's becoming easy. So digitization makes many aberrations or many difficult or many behavior which are cheating type scale up. And we need to be all aware, we need to be told. RBI also does advertisements, especially during cricket, saying don't change, give your passwords. I also keep on saying that normal investor who is new or a small should not be indulging in buying and selling frequently, or don't get into derivatives if you don't understand it, if you're not an expert. But it's like a warning by a person who is actually a lifeguard on a swimming pool. That every time you come, the swimming pool guy will say, I am standing here, please, children should be in the children's pool, and adults who know how to swim only go into that swimming pool. Otherwise, don't read the books and start swimming. Very few people have been successful, right? Or don't look at the tips and start swimming. All of us get SMSs and WhatsApp. But that's what my argument is, that I am like a person who is basically monitoring the swimming pool. But whenever I say this, the media starts catching up saying the CEO of the NSE doesn't want derivatives to happen or doesn't want people to buy or sell. Purpose is, if you know what you are doing, please do it. If you don't, even if you think we are going to protect you, please don't do it. Because protection is only limited. And if there are 5 people trying to drown themselves in the swimming pool, that guy is only one. How many people he will try to sort of save, and so on and so forth. So be aware, be acutely aware the responsibilities of an investor yourself, but also if there is a product suitability guidelines. So person who gets you into the swimming pool also then becomes responsible in case you get hurt, but hopefully he will not take you into swimming pool after that. And that is what my request would be, that in every aspect of life, the product suitability is something we need to do for finance. Otherwise, the gains that we have sort of got in terms of financial inclusion over last 10 years, it has been phenomenal. There is no country in the world which has been able to progress so much in terms of financial inclusion, automation of transactions, automation of how the entire society evolves. But if we don't create those frameworks to ensure that who can do what and what kind of protection is available, we are going to actually have several more types of newer and newer scams that would come up of taking away individuals' hard-earned money instead of that money going and becoming larger it can actually evaporate. And that is what my worries always are. So I hope today's discussions will actually lead us to some conclusions and also some policies that can be formed to ensure that investors are really protected and also trained to see, because if you don't want to be helped, it's very difficult for anyone to help you. Right? So you have to be aware, you have to be also learning newer things, what is happening, and those kind of frameworks also we need to evolve using this kind of discussion. So thank you very much for coming here today.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening speech. Moving ahead, I would now request Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand, General Manager of IPFA from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, to give the keynote address. Lieutenant Colonel is a 1998 commissioned army officer from Regiment of Artillery with more than 25 years of active service. During this tenure, he has tenured various appointments, has been an instructor, has handled various projects of national repute. The officer has been awarded and recognized at various levels. As General Manager of IPF Authority of MCA, Mr. Anand, along with Team IPFA, are on a pan-India mission of promoting financial literacy and financial inclusion, along with partners like ICAI, ICSI, NCAER, IICA, IIPB, NYKS, CSC, e-governance, etc., to empower various strata of society, safeguarding them against Ponzi schemes and making India a financially literate society, thereby contributing towards the financial development of the nation. Sir, can I request you to please come and address the audience?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, researchers, practitioners, and my dear friends. I am honored to stand before you on behalf of Investor Education Protection Fund Authority, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, to shed light on a subject of paramount importance, that is, investor protection in the digitalized world, role and criticality of financial advisors. In the age of digitalization, where financial landscape are evolving at an unprecedented pace, the need to safeguard the interest of investors has never been more critical. The Investor Education Protection Fund Authority recognizes the dynamic challenges posed by the digital era and emphasizes the indispensable role that financial advisors plays in ensuring investor protection. As we witness the integration of cutting-edge technology into financial services, the responsibility of financial advisor becomes increasingly complex. It is no longer just about managing portfolios, it is about navigating the intricate intersection of technology, finance, and investor well-being. Financial advisors serve as the first line of defense against the risk that accompany the vast array of digital investment opportunities. The rapid rise of fintech, blockchain, algorithm trading has rehashed the investment landscape, offering unparalleled opportunities but also introducing new dimension of risk. It is the duty of financial advisor to guide investors through the digital terrain, ensuring that they make informed decisions and comprehend the risk involved. One of the key aspects of critical role financial advisor play is education. It is the digital world where information is abundant and sometimes it becomes overwhelming as well. Financial advisors serve as an educationist, translating the complexities of digital investments into understandable insight for investors, empowering investors with the knowledge fundamental to the protection of their interest. Furthermore, we at IEPFA recognize the importance of technology literacy among financial advisors. Understanding the nuances of blockchain, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technology is not just its advantage, it is a necessity in providing effective guidance to investors navigating the digital realm. Transparency is the bedrock of investor protection. Clear communication between financial advisor and investor regarding the technology employed, the risks involved, and the potential reward is essential. At IPFA, we encourage financial advisors to adopt a transparent approach, fostering trust and confidence in the investor-advisor relationship. This digital era has brought about a paradigm shift in the way investments are managed. The role of financial advisor is more critical than ever. At IPFA, we remain committed to supporting initiatives that enhance investor protection in the digitalized world. In this symposium, let us collectively examine the critical challenges and opportunities that lie ahead by fostering a comprehensive understanding of digital landscape and pivotal role of financial advisor. We aim to fortify the foundation of investor protection and financial well-being. In alignment with Government of India vision of ease of living and ease of doing business, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has further simplified claim settlement process with the IPF rules. The persistent adoption of regulatory and technology-driven measures have enhanced claim settlement processes, resulting in increased number of claimants and successful refund. The recent change is to make the process more straightforward and expeditious, fostering a trust-based model for citizen-centric services. In fact, till now, we have returned more than 3 crore shares back to the claimant. The IPFA is delighted to collaborate with NCAR. So NCAR is one of our research chair. They are the guiding beacon under Dr. Mahapatra. This is the 4th consecutive year we are working with NCAR. So there's a lot of brainstorming is done, plans are made, and we go as per the execution also. But this is the first time IPFA has collaborated with National Stock Exchange for such an endeavor dedicated to exploring diverse aspects of investor protection and education. We look forward to more such collaborative events in the future, sir. Now, let me tell you something about what does IPFA Day in a broader way. Now, as per a legislative mandate, we have got 2 mandates. First is to return the unclaimed dividend and the underlying share back to the claimant. So we are like a custodian, and we are holding the shares and the dividend, and as and when the claimant is claiming, it is returned back to the claimant after due diligence, and there is a process to be followed. The second mandate is for financial literacy, awareness, and protection. So literacy has a different aspect, awareness is a different aspect, and protection again has a different dynamics to us. So what do we do at IPFA? So it is a known fact as per NCFE report 2019 that 27% of India is financially literate. It was of 2019. By now, there must be some improvement. However, the broader picture is that there's a large gap which has to be covered. Now, SEBI, RBI, all the depositories, NSDL, NSC, everybody, banks, other NGO organizations, they do carry out financial literacy and awareness programs pan-India. However, the margin is such a big that it requires collaborative effort. And with that digital aspect coming into being, it is making the things more and more complex. However, with better understanding, we will be able to negate these challenges. Now, we also have this input that more than 80 crore people in India, they live in villages. The dynamics is phenomenal. In Northeast India, it is a woman-driven economy. Central India has got a different dynamics. Northern India has got a different dynamics. So, the projects we undertake is, at the first partner we have got is Indian Post Payment Bank. So you must be aware that in olden days it was said that after a teacher in a village, a dak sevak or the dakia is much more learned, and people used to make them read letters, write letters, understand government policies or schemes. It used to be done by the dakia at the village level. So what we have done is we have tied up with Indian Post Payment Bank, Department of Post, and we have curated a program called Niveshak Didi, which was appreciated by Honorable Prime Minister. In that, under Nari Shakti, for the woman, by the woman, the project wherein the women dakiyas or the Gramin Dak Sevaks are brought under to the same platform through Train the Trainer concept. They are reaching out to the women folks at the village, and they are making them understand importance of savings, banking, budgeting, and trying to get them with the use of Indian Post Payment Bank into the banking cycle so that they are eligible for the social security scheme of Government of India. So the moment they have a bank account, they are eligible for all of this. So that is one aspect we are working very closely with Indian Post Payment Bank, Department of Post. CSE e-governance, again they have a very strong network pan-India. So we are using the VLE concept wherein we are making them understand with a lot of IEC material, a lot of TVCs, videos, jingles, the way they understand in those languages, and they are, through the VLE, they are reaching out to the last mile or the last man on ground. Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan also have a concept of volunteers. So IPFA has tied up with them, and we are carrying out projects wherein we can reach out to the masses in a Jan Bhagidari framework. NCC, school, colleges, we are conducting IIPs, and now we, for the tier 2 and tier cities or metros, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Institute of Company Secretary of India, Institute of Court Accountant. So these institutes are the partner institute under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. ICAI has got more than 170 chapters pan-India. Institute of Company Secretary of India has got more than 70 chapters pan-India. So we are using those knowledge partners, those point of contacts from where we are able to disseminate to make people understand importance of financial literacy, awareness, a framework of Ponzi scheme, how to be safeguard, but there is a lot to be done. So we are open to partnering with all the organizations so that we can carry out this mandate, which is a legislative mandate given to us at IPFA. So let us collectively strive to create an environment where investor can confidently navigate the digital financial landscape guided by knowledgeable and ethical financial advisors. Together we can build a future where investor protection is not just a regulatory mandate but a shared commitment for the sustainable growth of our financial market. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Your intervention has undoubtedly shed light on the broader governmental perspectives concerning investor protection in this digital era. Thank you, sir, for your invaluable insights. With further ado, let's move towards the main motive of our gathering, the panel discussion. I would request the panelists to join Mahapatra sir in the stage. Our esteemed panelists, comprising industry stalwarts such as Mr. Ashwini Bhatia, Shri B.C. Patnaik, Mr. Nilesh Shah, Ms. Pajmada Chunduru, Dr. C.S. Mahapatra, the moderator of the session, is an IAS officer of 1986 batch who worked in various critical assignments, mostly in financial sector, and rose to the level of Secretary to the Government of India. He is an expert in financial sector development and reforms, economic administration, planning and policy. Presently, he is the Chair Professor of IPFA Authority, Ministry of Corporate Affairs at NCAER, pursuing research on financial sector policies in the field of investor education and protection. He has served in Ministry of Finance at senior positions consistently from 2007 till 2021 besides various other ministries or departments during his long tenure of 36 years in the Government of India. Before joining government, he has taught economics and was a banker. As advisor of financials, as secretary FSDC and subsequently additional secretary in Ministry of Finance, handled for critical assignments including financial stability and cyber security, financial sector reforms, policy and institution building, financial stability and development council, RBI board matters, bilateral cooperations and sustainable finance, international economic relations, goods and services tax council secretariat, and institutions including IMF, World Bank, G20, BRICS, Financial Stability Board, Financial Sector Assessment Program, World Bank, etc. As Director Capital Market has pursued policy reform and capital market development, including implementation and recommendation of FSLRC. He has contributed as chairman, member, convener of various financial sector related committees and groups. These include chairperson of the Task Force on Sustainable Finance, Standing Committee for Indian Development and Economic Assistance Program, and co-chair of the Screening Committee for Bilateral and Multilateral Projects. He served as the member of the Early Warming Group, Technical Group on Financial Inclusion and Financial Literacy, Secondary Market Advisory Committee of SEBI, Working Group on Promoting Foreign Investment in India, Task Force on Financial Data Management Center, member and convener of the Macro Financial Monitoring Group of the Ministry of Finance, member convener of the Working Group of CERTFIN. He has widely participated in seminars and workshops in the area of financial sector policy and reforms, besides representing Government of India in the international fora. He has a PhD in economics from JNU and has an MSc degree in economics from London School of Economics and Political Science and MA in Analytical and Applied Economics. Has trained at various reputed institutions in India and abroad, including IIMs, IMF Training Institute, Singapore, and Goldman School of Public Policy, University of California, Berkeley, USA. He has initiated IPF chair and NCAR's collaborative effort with NSE, NISM, and NCFE. He is trying to contribute in the financial sector by promoting awareness among the investors and also the common people. Sir, may I request you to take the session ahead?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really honored to be here with you all, inside the auditorium and also outside. Let me make first very short and clear-cut statements. Number one, I'm really grateful to NAC, Ashish, Harish, and Rachana to be absolutely jumping and saying yes to this one. Big round of applause to NAC first. Secondly, my apologies for miscalculating the attendance. It's almost double. I apologize to people who are not in the auditorium but listening to us outside the auditorium. You are equally important for us. Thank you for being present. Thirdly, as it always happens, long introductions. At least I apologize for my introduction to be so long. Even I was impatient. So. Let me tell you, one good news is that makes my time a little less and more easier. We initially planned it at some point of time. Now it is 3:30, but let me assure you, the best announcement that I can make is I will stick to the time. And we are not going to cross the time. Now we'll have 1 hour. We'll cut out from the speakers, maybe 12 minutes each of speaking. And I am not going to compromise on the question answers. We'll have exactly 15 minutes as we planned. I think we should be able to finish at 4:30. This should get a round of applause also. Now, the point is that all of us understand what a financial advisor is, what an investment advisor is, and what advice means. Many a time, we are unable to differentiate, and my experience with the Interregulatory Coordination Authority, which we all created during my director days, the Financial Stability Development Council, where the Finance Minister is in chair, the first and foremost target is interregulatory coordination and minimizing the regulatory arbitrage. So the first question in front of all of us, which Ashish and Harish intervention, they were supposed to warm up, but they have really made the discussion a little hot in terms of the need for reducing the regulatory arbitrage, the need for understanding what an investor is, what an investment is, and whatever we are doing, is it sufficient enough? I always have that feeling that government and regulators in this digitized world need to be absolutely consultative one and need to really make up in terms of speed where the digitalized world is taking the hackers and also the people who are mismanaging our money, siphoning our money, and all sorts of nonsenses that is created by people who know better than us in terms of IT. These are the challenges. Benefits are enormous. I did not tell you, and I fully agree with Ashish when he says that when we are able to reach out masses, exactly with the same speed we create from problem for masses. I remember I was there in Finance Ministry from Lehman Brothers days, 2007 till 2021 in the North Block. Served as Additional Secretary for 3-4 years. Then I went to GST. Everywhere, in every international forum, there is always a concern about how do we really match with the speed of the cybersecurity nuisances. So cybersecurity threat comes along with its positives. Positives we all know, but we also know that we have a youth population, specifically in India, who are pretty eager to have short-term investments and really dream that this should work wonders. The first thing in the investment field, I do not agree when she says that we are there to give you profits. No. We are there only to give you advice. And if you take that advice, consider all the aspects, then be ready for the result, because it's your money, you are trying to do your best. The point is, the problem is that when you do not really do the best for yourself. Tomorrow I'll be giving a lecture in terms of bridging the gap between the financial education and financial well-being. Point is here that if you are financially educated, are you really seriously taking care of yourself to maximize your financial well-being? Most of the cases, even including us, are we really taking care of our money? The problem starts there. If we do not have that kind of time, that kind of energy, and now with digitization, that kind of wherewithals and an updated technological knowledge, are we able to manage ourselves the best possible manner? Which means we need more and more advice, which again means we have mushrooming financial advisors, which again means that are all of them regulated? When it comes to regulation, being in the government most of the time, I know people think that regulation is something which binds people, and many a time people want to free themselves, the regulated ones, from regulations. But when a crisis comes, it is the government, it is the regulation, it is the discipline that really helps you, that saves you. Whether you talk of a financial crisis, whether you talk of following the rules of the game, it always helps. Therefore, financial advice is a must. financial advisors need to be multiplied like anything. We have, as far as I know, and as per SEBI regulations 2013, around 1,300 investment advisors. And this doesn't include those which are under the insurance sector, around 25 lakh of them, the insurance agents, LIC ones and non-LIC ones. And we also have pension advisors. We have advisors after advisors and advices after advices. How many of them are really giving right kind of advice? Whether they are stopping at advice or they are trying to push you to take a decision. Whether you are really listening to them with care and trying to read those small font things before you sign. Those have become major issues today, and I have a wonderful assortment of speakers in front of you. I have the SEBI member, I have the IRDA member, I have the experience of pension sector and banking sector, the NSDL CEO. I also have the person whom none of you were introduced. Let me tell you, he is the member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Nilesh Shah, along with handling AMC. Nilesh, I know him for a long time. Almost most of them are known for a long, long time. And I'm sure that there won't be any dearth of knowledge and experience that they will share which will leave you satisfied at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure about that. Without taking much of your time, let me thank all of you to be being present and ask the speakers to stick to their time and let the time start now. Thanks.
Our first speaker, Shri Ashwini Bhatia, is a whole-time member of SEBI. Prior to this assignment, Shri Bhatia held the position of Managing Director in State Bank of India. Shri Bhatia handles the Department of Debt and Hybrid Securities, Alternative Investment Fund and Foreign Portfolio Investors Department, Market Intermediaries, Regulations and Supervision Department, Corporation Finance Investigation Department and Office of Investor Assistance and Education. Shri Bhatia comes with the experience of over 3.5 decades in the State Bank Group, where he joined as a probationary officer in 1985. Before becoming Managing Director of State Bank of India, Shri Bhatia served as MD and CEO, SBI Funds Management Private Limited. He has wide experience in treasury operations, retail banking, credit, investment banking and asset management. Shri Bhatia completed his schooling from Air Force School, Subroto Park, Delhi, and did his graduation in physics from Dayalbagh University, Agra. He is an MBA from Podar Institute of Management, Jaipur. Sir, kindly give your speech.
Ashwini Bhatia, please. 10 to 12 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mahapatra, and all the dignitaries on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. So, where does SEBI come in? I think Dr. Mahapatra touched on this right at the beginning by saying that there are only 1,300 investment advisors in the country, and one step forward and we are actually only 800. The other 500 are not active. So obviously we have much to do. Last month, many of you would have also heard a talk by our chairperson where she actually said that India actually needs 1 million investment advisors, and rightly so. Let's take the example of the medical profession. And if you ask me, the right mix would be gali gali, mohalla mohalla, one investment advisor. The reasons are very simple. You need health for yourself. You also need financial health. When I was in the bank, I often used to ask the question to my liaison officer, smart guys who used to come and receive me, And the first question was, do you invest or do you save? And that question used to confuse them. And confuse them because they are bankers and they're only supposed to take a savings bank deposit and a fixed deposit. And how do you move to the investment side? Now, because I came from the mutual fund industry, the AUM, the schemes, the NAV was deep inside my head. So the mutual fund industry, of course, has done very, very well. Over the last 10 years or so, the AUM has gone up multiple times. How do you move up from here? And how do we make our investors safe? Very rightly, Ashish touched upon it. Dr. Mahapatra also touched upon it. But let me also tell you, we hate to make rules. We hate to make regulation. They are tough. एक line बनाने में बड़ी मुश्किल होती है. We would love everything to be principle based, but actually it doesn't work that way. And with our experience that we have seen, and I, along with all the members in the past, keep passing orders again and again and again, and the mistakes are the same. What is the return? Nobody knows. What are you promising? It's just on paper. So what do you actually do, and do we then go deep into regulation and make it so difficult for an investment advisor to actually get registered as an advisor with SEBI? So the foundations, of course, have to be very, very strong. And one example that I give is of the mutual fund industry. नींव बड़ी पक्की हो गई है वहाँ पे अभी, right? The validations are very, very strong, right? The processes have been built up beautifully. Even the mutual fund distributors today, we believe, cannot make mistakes. Customers cannot be taken for a ride. And the biggest example and the biggest number that we monitor on a monthly basis is the SIP number. And last month, it almost touched 17,000 crores. And 17,000 crores, the SIP product has replaced the recurring deposit product of the banks. So it's been made absolutely safe. So where do you actually tackle, and where will SEBI come in? I would say 3 Ps. The purpose of the investment advisor should be right. The product should be right. And the third element, the most important element actually for any advisor or a distributor, is the profit element. I actually envy Mr. Patnaik when it was said that there are 32 crore LIC or insurance policies. And actually the AUM of the insurance industry is more than that of the mutual fund, which is quite out of tune actually if you compare it globally. So how do you think SEBI will come in? So there were 4 discussion papers that have been in circulation. So one talks about the validation data, the other talks about how the fee should be collected, how the fin influencers are to be regulated. Again, a very, very difficult subject. How do you monitor them? Because they come in today, they escape tomorrow, you don't even know where they are. And obviously, do we need a corporate body for administration and supervision of research analysts? So these 4 papers were under discussion. We have got a lot of feedback. I'd just like to talk about profits and a bit about medicine, and I hope if that model works, it will be great. We want the industry to make profits. That's your due for all the hard work. But your purpose should be right. And if your purpose is right, over the long run, you will make a lot of wealth. But we don't want you to profiteer. Profits, yes. Profiteering, no. Absolutely no. And the biggest or the best example that I can possibly give you is that of a doctor. When you go to the doctor for the first time, you're welcomed by a nurse. And the nurse checks your blood pressure, she checks your pulse, she asks for family history, your BP, your diabetes, your heart, your medical records, your surgeries, and so on and so forth. And that makes you actually pretty happy. And within next 15-20 minutes, you are with the doctor, and doctor says, "Beta kya hua?" And I say, "Doctor sahab, gala kharab hua." And he says, "Koi baat nahi, have this warm water, gargling, and paracetamol and something else. This is my fee. And if you are not okay, come back to me after a week." You actually get okay after 3 days. And on the 4th day, you go back to the doctor and say that I am fine. And this time you're a little disappointed because there's no nurse to welcome you. And the doctor says, "Beta, very good. Keep having your hot water and complete your course and you'll be fine." And you are fine. So what has a doctor gained? The doctor has not gained a patient, but he's gained a customer, number one. And if you do a little equity valuation, the future fund flow, the net asset value is what you're going to pay him over 20-30 years. And you are going to recommend more patients, relatives, friends to him again and again and again. And look at his NAV, that is his market capitalization. So if you're a good analyst, an investment advisor or a research analyst, the customers will reward you with their love, affection, and good profit. Our economy is growing fast. The AUMs have gone from one height to the other. The market capitalization of the markets, of course, from 2013 to now is up 4 times. So we are close to 300 lakh crores, almost equal to the GDP of the country. And on the digital side, of course, SEBI has done a lot. We have to keep pace with whatever is happening on the technology side. So whether it is the depositories or T+1 settlement or IPO on T+3 or margining or pledge, repledge, that has been made possible because of technology, and digitization is something that we will promote more and more and more. And don't be surprised next year that, we've already been talking about this, you'll have same day settlement also. So technology has enabled that. We will go in for digitization. You will get an e-cash, you will get a statement from NSDL on call if needed. It's your money, you need to keep it safe, and we'll ensure that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatia. That was quite on time, but you will have questions during the question session. Thank you. Yes, Deepa.
Now we would like to call Shri B.C. Patnaik. Mr. Patnaik is a whole-time member of IRDAI. He has served as Managing Director of LIC of India. Shri Patnaik, a postgraduate in political science and a fellow of the Insurance Institute of India, has joined LIC in 1986 as a Director Recruit Officer and has an illustrious career in LIC spanning for 37 years. He has played a pivotal role in introducing LIC's e-services and NAC mode of payment. He was also the Secretary General of Council of Insurance Ombudsman. We would like to call you, sir, to address the audience.
Thank you, ma'am. Dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Mahapatra, Bhatia Sahib, Madam Padmaja Chundru, Nilesh ji, MD CEO of NSC, Ashish ji, Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand, Ahuja ji, Tirthankar ji, Mr. Mahanti, Mr. Saxena, all dignitaries. So, thank you NSC and NCR for giving this opportunity. Yes, in the beginning we had a talk that Ashish ji was setting the tone whether certain kind of investors, they pose a risk when they invest their money. Yes, as far as insurance is concerned, the risk element is much less as compared to the stock market or to some extent in the mutual fund. But there are inbuilt risks in terms of mis-selling, in terms of post-sale services. And when we talk that investor protection, it should be wholesome. And particularly in a digitalized world, we have to ensure that in the name of digitalization, customers are not prone to being missold, and in the name of insurance, they are not sold products which are frauds, which are scams. So these are areas which are our concern. And when we are talking of the asset under management, just now Bhatia Sahib told that the stock market deals with 300 lakh crores of investors' money. It's a user's money. The numbers as compared to insurance investors must be maybe much less. But when you see the volume, and particularly in the digitalized world, all of us need to be concerned. Mutual fund SIPs, as you say, 17,000 crore every month. And total AUM, if I'm not correct, is more than 40 lakh crores. Insurance is now 60 lakh crores. But what happens when we have these figures? We may be feeling we are happy, but when you compare to global standards, it is much, much less. So I give you one small example. Suppose, let us say, the UPI transactions. Today, in a month, single month, it is crossing 1,000 crore number of transactions. And the volumes are more than 15 lakh crores. And every day it is rising. And these are mostly retail, you can call it. Because apart from that, there are RTGS and others where high volume transactions take place. So if you say any good economy, the investment should be at least 10% of the total expenses. So if you take 15 lakh crores, then perhaps every month in the retail investment 1.5 lakh crores should happen. That should make it 18 lakh crores in a year. In a country like India, where the GDP is 300 lakh crores or more, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is going to happen, but again, as they say, the trust is a factor. And when trust is a factor, we say the role of financial advisors are that much more important. Somehow, suppose in the life science industry, there may be people for financial advisors, or sort of, they may not be named as financial advisors, but sort of advisors, or maybe people who are against advisors. But in a country like India, where the disposable income was very, very less, even up to the year 2000, I should say these people, for generations together, they have been supporting their clients. And the clients testify that if they are financially stable, if they are financially well off, it is due to the support of these advisors. Because you see, financial, when we call out financial literacy, first we have to start with understand the financial vulnerability. Each and every individual, he should be knowing where the financial vulnerability will come. Then he should plan that how there should be financial resilience. Whether I am capable of making a comeback. My 5 wickets are down, whether I can come back and win the match. And for that, financial toolkits are available. And a lot of, whether it is insurance, whether it is banking, whether it is mutual fund, whether it is the share markets, all these are supportive features. Then only I can think of financial well-being. as Bhatia was telling, financial health. Nothing wrong in going to a doctor when I'm ill. Nothing wrong in asking for help when I feel I have the need. If I have to build a house, I try to seek help from everybody. There may be an engineer who can be a professional, who can be a friend, who can be a relation. Please come and guide me. And there are so many things. When you try to purchase a TV or a computer also, we try to seek help. For a mobile also, we do our own research, but still we ask friends, relations, whether this is a good mobile or not. Similarly, for my financial well-being, I need to invest, because unless I invest, my financial future is very, very bleak. And for this investment, I need advice. I'm happy that for the share market, there are now 800 functional investment advisors. It's needed by people like you and me. Distributors, yes, the financial distributors in the mutual fund, they do a great service. The advisors or the agents in the life industry, the brokers and other aspects who greatly support, and the people in the generalist industry, in the health insurance industry, we should accept that they're doing a decent job. Because when you see the claim settlements of the insurance industry every year, it is crossing 5 lakh crores. That means 5 lakh crores of losses which could have happened, that has got mitigated. If that would not have been there, so the GDP would have been down by that amount. And so much of ill effects would have been there for the lack of this support from the insurance. As simple as all of us driving cars and other things also. Something happens to the car, and we go to the garage, he says, it will cost 70,000. The moment we have an insurance, we feel no. Even if there is a loss, it will be too less. Most of the losses will be managed. But if the insurance is not there, perhaps we lose 2 or 3 sleepless nights. And there can be other dangers also. If you hit somebody, there is a fatal injury somewhere, then the losses may be much more also. But if there is an insurance, that also gets protected. The insurance company takes care of the claim that may arise due to the death of another person. We may be knowing, may not be knowing. Government tries its level best to see that at least the third-party insurance should be propagated to each and everyone. So these are small advices, these are small knowledge, where the ecosystem is there to take care of it. Yes, the individuals, we say they have, India has grown to a great extent, because all these things that the very fact that we are discussing the role of financial advisors, that we feel there is a need. We also know that they have done a wonderful job all throughout. And as Bhatia was quoting SEBI chairman, perhaps 10 lakh investment advisors are required. Yes, it should be there. The ecosystem should be supportive. If the asset under management is 300 lakh crore, out of that if retail is 150 lakh crores, perhaps it can rise to 600, 700 lakh crores. Because we are witnessing a new India. The earnings are increasing, but people are also worried about their financial future. And modern civilization has allowed these tools to support it. And for that we call it financial knowledge. When we say, many people, because there are a lot of research going on, like Tusharji was telling, this 27%. I was reading research by the OECD, and they were telling that for the OECD countries, only for adults, they have not taken the entire population, and for the target group. And they find that literate adults, the financial literacy is less than 70%. But when it comes to the difference between a compound interest or the benefits of a compound interest as opposed to a simple interest, it comes down to as low as 46%. The benefits of long-term savings, we find when you take countries like Spain and other things, they go to the level of 70%. But most of the countries less than 50%. Because an idea about long-term savings, an idea about the compound interest, then a big capital can be built. And the London Business School, they are having a study like aging gracefully. They say with all these advances in the medical sciences, people will survive up to 100 years. Individual persons may be very happy. But society is feeling the pain. Society's government, they are feeling how we can manage them. Even one day children may feel. They say we can manage you for 10, 20 years, but we cannot manage you for 40 years. Our entire life will go by managing you, will become more. So their financial literacy has become important and financial education is needed. So I think we have given a fair idea that why we are here and what is needed for the country. And all of us can be messengers. Because these are all noble things that we need to do for the country. Thank you very much. Thank you for the patient hearing.
Thank you very much. Deepak?
We would now like to call Mr. Nilesh Shah. Mr. Nilesh Shah is the Group President and Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company Limited. He has over 25 years of experience in capital markets, having managed funds across equity, fixed income securities, and real estate for local and global investors. Mr. Shah is a gold medalist chartered accountant and a merit ranking cost accountant. He is a part-time member of the Economic Advisory Council of the Prime Minister. He is a part-time member of Unique Identification Authority of India. Sir, we will request you to come.
Dr. Mahapatra, Shri Ashwini Bhatia, Shri B.C. Patnaik, Srimati Padmaja Chundru, Ashish Bhai, and Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand. Why do we have to protect investors? Well, it is customary to protect endangered species. We have to protect tigers because there are very few left. We have to also protect investors because there are very few left. In mutual fund industry, we have delivered 15 to 20% compounded return over 15 to 20 years. And yet we have got only 4 crore investors. And that also I am saying because they are my customers. Probably investors are just 2 or 3 crore. In cryptos where people have lost money, there are 18 crore Indians who have gone and dabbled into crypto to lose money. In Ponzi schemes, there are more than 2 crore Indians who have lost more than 2 lakh crore in last 20 years. In trading from commodities and currencies to betting on cricket match, so many Indians lose money. So we must protect investors because it is a very, very limited species. It is a very, very endangered species. Now, why do we need advisor? Yesterday, all of you had witnessed, we had more than 1 billion people who knew better than Rohit Sharma how to captain Indian cricket team. We had more than 1 billion people who knew how to bet better than KL Rahul and also bowl better than Kuldeep Yadav. So, as Indians, we always know what to do. The problem is we don't find 11 people who can do it on the ground. That's why we need an advisor. There is a couplet in Mahabharata where Duryodhan, who is hell-bent on war, Bhagwan Krishna goes to him before the beginning of the war and tries to convince him that please give 5 villages to Pandavas and they will not go to war. We will avoid the bloodshed. And Duryodhan replies, Janami dharmam, nachme pravrutti, janami adharmam, nachme nivrutti. Oh Bhagwan Krishna, don't tell me what is right. I know exactly what is dharma, but I can't follow it. And don't teach me what is wrong. I know what I'm doing is wrong, adharma, but I can't stay away from it. From that day till today, we have Duryodhan living with us. And since this is Kali Yuga, Krishna Bhagwan is unlikely to come. That's why we need financial advisor. Now, investment is an emotional subject and intelligence doesn't work here. Many people have misimpression that you need to be intelligent to be an investor. But trust me, India's most respected investor is just Bachelor of Commerce, not a chartered accountant, not a management graduate, not an engineer. In fact, in my opinion, intelligence many a time becomes liability. What you need is wisdom, not intelligence. And which is why we need an intermediary. India's most educated state, Kerala, spends more money on lottery every year than what they have accumulated in equity mutual funds over last so many years. Sir, वहाँ तक तो मैं पहुँचा ही नहीं हूँ. Chit fund will be above that. Which is why there is need for advisory. Now, how do we ensure that there is appropriate advisory for the investors? I think there are two streams by and large. A regulated entity or a regulated framework, by and large across mutual funds, pension funds, insurance industry, banking sector, investors' experience have been by and large positive. I'm not saying that there are no complaints against distributors or intermediaries in these sectors, but they are manageable and they do get resolved, and there is a punishment for the wrongdoer. On the other hand, we have an unregulated sector, Ponzi's, cryptos, advisory which is available in digital world, and today they are called financial influencers. Ashish Bhai will agree that there are some financial influence which only show one side of trade where they seem to have made money. They don't show the other side of trade where they have actually lost money. So this kind of half disclosure, half truth creates its own problem. By and large, experience of people in unregulated sector has been fairly disastrous. So the first and the most important thing is to bring a regulator for intermediaries, which can bring a code of conduct, which can bring a rule of law. The theory of broken window applies in every sector. In a city which was frustrated with crime, and despite investing in heavy policing, they couldn't control the crime. They hired an expert to give them advice on controlling crime. And after touring the city, he came back saying that just ensure that in no neighborhood there is a broken window. And the city council was aghast, saying that, boss, we want you to control crime and you are saying that we should not have broken window. Have you gone out of your mind? And he said, if you ensure that there are no broken windows in your neighborhood, because so many houses are empty, it will give a feel that there is rule of law in this city. Even an empty house is not getting vandalized. This alone will be good enough to control the crime. The fear of law is far more important than the punishment. It prevents committing crime. And hence there is a need of regulator which can bring rule of law in this intermediary sector. The second thing is financial awareness. In our culture, we have been told that money is not everything in life. Don't run after money. I think we need to adopt to what Mr. Buffett said. Money is not important in life, but make sure that you have made enough money before you make such statement. We need to start praying Saraswati Mata as well as Lakshmi Mata together. And what better than to give financial education as part of school and college curriculum so that people are more aware about financial matters. If we see India's business community, the Gujaratis, the Marwadis, the Sindhis, how have they become business community? Because most of the time on their lunch table, dinner table, they talk about business. If we start teaching kids at a younger age about financial awareness and education, I think it will go a long way in creating financially aware investors. And then rule of law on intermediary, which does not allow arbitrage between regulated versus unregulated entity. Hopefully, we'll have our theory of broken window, where investors will have positive experience. Not necessarily always. There will be some ups and downs, but then regulator will take due care. Finally, why is it so critical for India? I just want to leave you with this one statistics. In last 21 years of this century, we have spent about $373 billion in import of gold. This is on a net basis. This is 1,000 tons of import, 300 tons of export, about 700 tons on an average every year, net import. Obviously, there is gold smuggling. Every day we hear customs seizing gold at various ports and airports. If we assume that gold smugglers are not charitable organizations and they are commercial enterprises, then the annual run rate of gold smuggling should be about $7 billion based on last 3 years gold seized at the airport. Mind you, at $7 billion, they will just break even, they will not make money. If you believe they are profit-seeking entities, then this number is probably $10 billion. When you go to airport, you will see people going to Dubai, Singapore. When they go, they are weighing 50 kg. But when they come back, they weigh 55 kg like Bappi Lahiri, loaded with gold and walking through Green Channel. So collectively, we Indians, would we have spent $500 billion in import of gold in last 21 years? Answer is quite likely. If that money was, instead of investing in gold, invested into our golden entrepreneurs, the Tatas, the Birlas, the Ambanis, the Adanis, the Wadias, and so on and so forth, imagine what would have been our GDP, what would have been growth, what would have been our per capita GDP. we are working to achieve Prime Minister's $5 trillion GDP target. But by avoiding this just one habit, we would have become $5 trillion economy long before. We have probably lost 1/3 of India's GDP by simply not following right financial investment. So financial literacy, role of financial advisor and investor protection is truly important for the Amrit Kal of India. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilesh. That was quite engaging and brilliant one. Deepak.
We have now Ms. Padmaja Shunduru. She is the MD and CEO of NSDL since September 2021 after a 37-year stint in banking industry in SBI and Indian Bank. She was awarded the Banker of the Year by Financial Express for 2019-20 and Best CEO by ET Prime Women Leadership Award for 2020-21. A postgraduate in commerce from Andhra University, Ms. Padmaja joined SBI in 1984 as a probationary officer. She was country head US operations at SBI at New York from 2014 to 17. Ma'am, we would request you to kindly come and address.
Dr. Mahapatra, Shri Ashwini Bhatia, Shri Patnaik ji, Mr. Nilesh Shah, Ashish Chauhan ji, NSE Chief, and Lieutenant Colonel Tushar Anand, and all the dignitaries in the audience, guests. I feel very privileged to be here today, not to address the gathering, but to listen to the speakers who have so far given their pieces of wisdom. I think this was one of the best experiences I had. I thought, what would be, so many people talk of financial awareness or financial literacy for 1.5 hours. Now, of course, my time is curtailed, I know, I will take care of that. But there was that doubt in my mind. But now when I heard so many people, I won't dwell on the points that have already been covered. One thing that struck me was, there are so many, Mr. Shah has equated the financial advisors to Krishna Bhagwan. I think that was a very nice analogy because, he doesn't actually do the thing, but he nudges. And nudge is a great, propeller for action. I think coming to our role in NSDL, the 300 lakh crores that we are talking of, that custody of that wealth of all the demat account holders is, with the depositories, and NSDL itself has almost 80% or 85% of that wealth being safeguarded in all those accounts with us. Now that means a lot of responsibility, and in India, the government in its wisdom and SEBI have mandated that we have also a direct connect with all the demat account holders, in spite of they coming through various depository participants, brokers, etc. So I think wherever there is, with SEBI's guidance and regulations, it has been put in place that wherever there is anything a little extra, where you are touching the customer's account, where you are touching the customer's shares, there is an OTP or there is an authentication, there is a validation coming from the ultimate owner. And this, I think, is the biggest plus of this system, which makes us very, very alert to any sort of a action that can happen in your accounts. I am talking of the accounts after the financial advisor gives his advice, the investor makes the investment, and then the shares or the assets come into the demat account. The one thing that I would like to also draw attention to is that there is a consolidated account statement that goes out every month from the depositories. The ECAS of NSDL has not only your shares or bonds or mutual funds, the pensions, NPS, even insurance. I hope the insurance authority has been talking of digitizing and even maybe dematerializing insurance policies. Once that comes, all our financial assets would be reflected in this cash statement. The other improvements and other things that the financial advisors can handhold their customers, as Mr. Ashwini Bhatia pointed out, it is not a one-time transaction. Once the investment is done, I think it's a lifelong relationship. In banks, we used to have what they call relationship manager. It's not just attracting the account, we need to handhold the customer through his journey. And now I would say that making sure that the KYC is up to date. Now there is a 6 KYC in SEBI, under SEBI guidelines. It is the email, it is the PAN number, it is the address, it is the gross income. There are 6 parameters. I think it is also the financial advisor's role to make sure that these are up to date, because anything, anywhere missing, and then there is a lot of process around, there will be, in spite of all the digital initiatives taken, still that journey is a bit friction prone. And why do we get into that? Why not we avoid that? That I think is when I talk of numbers there, I think more than 117 crore shares are lying unclaimed under the IEPF trust. This means for 7 years, if the dividend is not claimed, not only the dividend amount, which amounts to about 5,700 crores as of March, that amount plus the shares lying in those demat accounts where the dividend has not been claimed for 7 years gets transferred to the IEPF trust. It's not that it is lost, it is in very safe hands with the IEPF. Only thing is that we have to again go through the process of claiming it back. And I think that is totally avoidable. The only thing is that you should make sure that your investor updates the bank account, because the amount comes directly into the bank account, the dividend. The bank account, many times people change the bank account and then they don't forget updating in the DP records. The other thing is the address. We as a depository, if the dividend comes back unpaid, if we are supposed to send it to the physical address by post, even that sometimes doesn't get delivered. Then I think we are not doing justice to the trust that has been reposed in us by these investors if we are not able to make sure that these amounts don't lie just like that unclaimed. And I'm sure many of those investors probably are not even aware that there is this. Now of course the portal is there, people can go check. IEPF itself has puts it on its website, and we can go check through our PAN number or other data. The similar case arises in RBI also, since most of you must be talking of bank deposits. There also almost 35,000 crores of unclaimed deposits are lying with the DEAF, that is called the Depositors Education and Awareness Fund. Again, similar process. There, if it is more than 10 years, if it is not transacted, the amount goes into the DEF fund. These are things that I think we can totally avoid by giving that awareness to the customers. From NSDL side, I would like to add that apart from the CAS, we also have very active awareness programs, both physical and also digital. So we have an online digital awareness program, what we call Market Ka Ekalavya, that is in all regional languages, almost 13 regional languages, 3-hour module, very simple, 3 or 4 modules, 3 or 4 types that are covered within 3 hours. We do it for students generally, but today we are also doing for army personnel, for defense, for corporates, for teachers or police. Very demographically, our senior citizens, women. These are, I would request that whoever is interested, and we will also reach out, especially to IEPF itself. I think I was talking to Mr. Tushar, and we'll do this. Because this, I think, we have done more than 500 programs within that Investor Awareness Week that was there, and we have covered more than 31,000 students this year so far. I think this plus the physical awareness programs definitely throughout the length and breadth of country would bring the strings together. I would again mention my request that we take care of the customer, like LIC would say, Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi. I think we need to take care of the settlement of the funds that are lying unclaimed in various places. This is not generally put forth, but this is very important for us to make like Mr. Nilesh mentioned about gold, how we are, it's an inefficient way of investing. This is also an inefficient way of just parking funds with so many people probably in dire need of those funds. So with that request and thanking you for giving me this opportunity, thank you very much.
Thank you, Padmaja. Thanks to all the panelists. I think Ashish's lecture was not a welcome address. It was equally a speaking assignment that he completed. He raised many things. Let me just request Ashish to join us. He cannot escape after saying so much from questions in case it comes up. Harish talked about the common regulatory framework. I think most of us also hinted at having a absolutely comprehensive as well as without regulatory arbitrage, a common framework. I know I was deliberately avoiding because I am aware about the number of chairs, because being in the government, you might have observed I didn't leave the chair.
But it is important, sir, very important.
Please do ask questions and we will answer from there. Absolutely no issues. Then Harish also talked about type 1 error, about not to do certain things, but we do it, which is more dangerous than not doing something which we should have done. And he also alarmed about the Gen Z characteristics in terms of believing so much in terms of short-term gains and falling to the trap. And I think Nilesh confirmed the fact in terms of the figures which he quoted on cryptocurrencies. Ashish raised many questions. I will just mention one or two. Talked about the FSLRC. It's a recommendation given by a team of experts chaired by one of the honorable judges, Professor B. I think B. N. Sri Krishna. We engaged him around 2011. By 2013 the report came back, and that carries a lot of recommendations, including a statutory financial development council, having a uniform grievance redressal agency, and this part, some of it have been implemented, some have not been implemented. So any of you who are interested in the long-term financial reforms may like to have a look at it. And he talked about the technological solution. It brings along with complex, making complex problems simple. It also attacks in terms of masses in one go. So we have to be very careful. Tushar obviously talked about what IEPF does and claim settlement effort that's being done. And Mr. Ashwini Bhatia talked about principle-based versus rule-based regime. I remember researching on this topic during 2008-9 when the Turner Review report came after the financial crisis, and we were at LSE discussing which one is better, whether the UK system is better or the US system, but both really fell flat on the eyes of the fear of unknown. The unknown unknowns come in. You think that the crisis will come one way, but then the crisis comes somewhere else. We have to be very careful. In India also we have seen in small scale a little bit of systemic crisis affecting or terrorizing sort of phenomenon which we have managed well, and that's how we stand strong. I must thank all the regulators, and you are the representative of regulators. Because of all of you, as well as a more alert investors and people, we have really crossed the river of financial crisis after financial crisis, and today we are one of the most high growth achieving countries. So kudos to us, the regulators and the government. I would mention about Mr. Patnaik talking about the contribution of the insurance agents, coming generations after generations trying to help people. But today we need heightened degree of literacy. That level of literacy which even the advisors had, they need to be trained better. there is a dearth of certified people, there is a dearth of certified people to the level that the country needs. That is where we have to really work, reducing the regulatory arbitrage on the one hand, and on the other hand, trying to heighten their literacy levels so that they can advise better. And thirdly, they stop at advising, not jump into pushing decisions. If we take care of that, then we will have maybe more of Warren Buffett. And Nilesh really took the audience away in terms of talking about so many examples. He covered almost everything, though I gave him a limited time, stuck to the time, but covered most of it. One thing which I want to highlight, as mentioned, is about that we should believe in wisdom, not knowledge. So the wisdom is much more than knowledge. Therefore, those who have understood that will absolutely be very serious whether you are on the side of advisor or on the side of advised. You should know your limitations and you should invest wisely, or you should also, if you are an advisor, advise wisely. It is not only in the interest of the investor, but also in the interest of your own firm which is advising. This is very, very critical. And both Ashish and who not everybody, I think Nilesh as well as Padmaja mentioned about Krishna to be the guiding force. But the problem is that when Krishna was guiding as the Sarathi in Mahabharata, it was Arjuna who was doing the arrows, firing the bullet from the Rath. So we also need those Arjunas who are knowledgeable investors themselves to be able to manage the show as much as after we get the guidance. It's not only the guidance which is very critical, it is also you should understand the guidance and you should act accordingly. So there are a lot of things that we need to know, and it was very appealing to hear from one of the speakers about engaging school children. I think Nilesh mentioned about it. It is there in the NCERT syllabus. It is we have I remember set up this financial National Center for Financial Education under NISM, where I will be visiting day after tomorrow. This was supposed to coordinate the financial education activity. I think we need to coordinate the financial advisors activity also and try to build. We need more of self-regulatory organizations in AMFI, in other areas, so that they regulate themselves. Because as it was surprising, must be for all of you, when Mr. Bhatia said that we hate regulations. So it is a fact. It is a fact. Regulating nobody likes, and least liked by the regulators as well as the government. But when it's not so easy to sail through, there are wicked minds and there are mischievous characters. You need to have a framework. But ultimately, to my mind, it is ethics, integrity, morality with wisdom, which will work on both sides, whether you are an advisor or you are advised. Thank you all very much. And now, time for questions.
Good evening. My name is Praful Lale. My question is to Mr. Patnaik, sir. I would like to know, when an insurer insures the person through medical policy, now why the moratorium is given to him for 1 year from not taking the medical treatment or any other things? Why that 1 year is given to him, during which if a patient needs help from hospital or any kind of a thing, and that when we pay a premium of 35,000 to that extent, why we are deprived of any kind of treatment from the insurer?
Thank you very much. Actually, health insurance comes in various forms. So one of the most important aspects of health insurance is the pre-existing diseases. If there are diseases which have to be declared, then the experience that the health insurance companies have, that yes, it is better to have a waiting period. At the same time, there are health insurance companies which take a risk, we say, okay, we cover you for the pre-existing diseases, but we charge a higher premium. So there are two aspects to it. But sometimes what happens if a pre-existing disease is there and the moratorium which is there where the premium is less, it is better to be having that thing, because many times you may not be needing an operation immediately, and I get my point. And because it depends on the quality of life which differs from one individual to another, and when we all become old, there will be some problems like that. It's always a risk, because what happens is because today also in the individual space, individual health insurance space, only 2.3 crore people are covered. Whereas there will be another 15 to 20 crore people who can afford but who don't have a health insurance policy. The government sponsored schemes and the state government sponsored scheme, and for the Ayushman Bharat, that covers around 52 crore of people. But if you take that 52 crore people all together also, there will be another 90 crore of people in India who don't have a health insurance sort of thing. So there is a risk always there. It is better to have a health insurance, not to have it. Accept the conditions, and once that period is over, then it is okay, it continues. If somebody starts health insurance at a young age, then he continues with the health insurance policy for as long as 80 years without any problem also. So it happens for the first time. After that period is over, there is no need for it.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, we also have students sitting outside who have put in some questions. I would ask Mr. Mahapatra to take some questions from the students.
Thank you very much. I think Ashish has some other engagement, so I don't leave people without completing the task. So 2 questions to Ashish from the students. The first question is, how can we digitalize the investors' protection? Various modes. This is asked by one Sanket from Alana Institute of Management Studies. Sorry if I have not been able to read properly. And there was another question, Ashish. He is Mayuresh Yadav. He is asking, nowadays cyber attack is happening. So how to save, rather I think he means safeguard investors' money. How to build up a carrier with NSE. These are 2 questions. I would advise for building up carrier, he should consult NSE separately. The first question, please.
So one question is, I think both are same question about how to digitalize the investor protection, and in the modern world how to save investors or how to create that protection. So broadly both questions have the same meaning, that too many changes are happening from just pure password protection. Don't share your passwords, which is what I think RBI does, even NSE's advertisements are there. But broadly there are layers of protection. First, investor has to figure out whether they want to be protected or not, right? And in some ways, investors also have to be protected from themselves, because the greed is what basically creates most of the issues, right? Sometimes we go after the deals, sometimes we go after larger returns, sometimes we go after promises. So, and there, the protection is due to your knowledge, information and wisdom. If you have a lot of wisdom and no information, that is also not correct, because then you have to be really in Himalaya, right? And if you are in Sansar, then you have to have information and knowledge and wisdom, all 3. Otherwise, again, you will be just talking like me only, right? Which is non-specific. So basically, you will have to understand that somewhere on the line, first layer is to protect yourself. Second layer is to say whether the product is suitable for me or not. Naturally, the regulators need to, and we are also frontline regulators, but we have regulators above us, and then we have policymakers who are sitting in ministry and then parliament. So we need to figure out jointly, collectively, saying what is suitable for which type of investors. Today, in absence of suitability guidelines, or at least implemented suitability guidelines, there have been recommendations, I think, from Sumit Bose committee, even for insurance, but that has again not actually been implemented, nor do we have suitability guidelines for products in stock markets or even banking products for that matter, or any other products in the financial services. So for me, the suitability is a very important aspect of it. At least we can sort of do it ourselves, that whether the risk which I am taking is proportionate to the risk I can take. Because otherwise, a thing which basically is promising 100% returns or 5,000% returns, but can take away your money next moment, is it correct for me to go into that kind of investments or not? Then the investment horizons. If you are a 20-year-old, your horizon is different. If you are 30-year-old, it's a different. It's a 40, 50-year-old will have different horizons, whether for insurance or for stock markets, for anything, even banking. So you need to figure out your horizons, and that is again a thing which you need to do. What the regulators can do is to probably codify all this, but it's up to you and of course your advisors to, and also intermediaries to figure out whether you are allowed to do this and you actually do it or not. And later on, the instruments to provide you some sort of protection. So for example, a bank goes bankrupt. It is not that banks don't go bankrupt. We want you to think they don't go bankrupt, but actually they do, right? And in that case, the RBI gives you, there is a deposit guarantee insurance corporation, which gives you up to 5 lakh rupees of insurance. It's in a way, for every transaction they take some charges from banks and they collect that, and out of which they are supposed to pay up. Similarly, out of every time you transact on a stock market, some money goes to investor protection fund of the exchanges, and from there you are protected up to 25 lakhs on NSE and up to 15 lakhs on BSE. So in case your broker defaults after that, then you can make them basically ask for the claim. But suppose you had invested for your 25 lakh rupees in a stock whose price went down, then you will not be protected of that because that was your decision. It's just that if your broker is not able to give you, so you need to also understand where you are protected, where you are not protected. So for any type of activity, what kind of protection is available, whether it is adequate or not. Of course, if it's not adequate, regulators can be told, they can review it, and so on and so forth. And so there are layers of protection, institutions which can protect, how they can protect, and so on and so forth. So broadly, I would say there are many complexities, but every investor has a duty to himself or herself, or her family or his family, that you are investing money on insurance or on stocks or mutual funds or health insurance is for a particular purpose, right? And whether you are doing it for a purpose or not is what you need to basically understand what are the instruments, how details they are, and so on and so forth. And on the cyber side, again, because of the automation, the cyber hacking and other things are happening. So you need to know, as I told, about not sharing password, but also not coming to the influence, not only cyber part, even television. You have basically lots of T20 going on, right, on the televisions also, that I have bought it at this level, can stop loss comes, right? I mean, if you are an investor, you have not understood the definition of investment only. Investment is for long term. Buying at 250 and selling at 260 is not investment, right? So somewhere, either we are not connecting you or we are not informing you properly, or somewhere you are not getting it properly, that if you want to trade and trade, then the protection would be again up to 25 lakh rupees only from NSE or 15 lakhs from BSE. But if you don't have the expertise, go to mutual funds. There are experts who will invest on your behalf. They will charge you a little bit of money. And if you think, no, that charge is not sufficient, you can go to ETF, which is called exchange traded fund, which charge you less, again provided by the same people. So you can decide where you decide which index you want to invest in. And so that's how I would put it. But cyber part is much more complex. You can lose your money from your bank accounts, your credit cards, your UPI. I gave example of Jamtara before. So there are literally millions of new methodologies that Jamtara guys or some friends of theirs are trying to create to take your money away from you. and it's your duty to also protect yourself. If you continue to depend on somebody else, I think you are not also doing your duty well. So we need to come out with methodologies to, like RBI gives you that password part, which we also do. But we need to do much more of that, come out with newer, whenever we come to newer methodologies, we need to also keep the investors aware, general public also aware, that you should not be sort of doing a particular kind of thing where the risk is more of other people taking advantage of your gullibility, or just hacking your passwords or hacking something. And of course the last part is the financial influencers. As I think somebody said that they show you one side. Sometimes now you don't have to show you, I think Nilesh Bhai said. They have to just manufacture some video to why invest money, right? They are just manufacturing, you are impressed. But I have this worry that if you get impressed by somebody who you have never met, by seeing his or her numbers, it is very difficult to keep you and your money together. Somewhere you are willing to lose it, and you want to lose it, desperately looks like. That's why you are investing through such people, or you want to be sort of going by tips, or you are going by WhatsApp messages. Because today if you want to buy a mobile phone, you will do tremendous amount of research, right? You ask your friends, you will go through some comparisons. But when you have to come to investment, 1 lakh rupee, 5 lakh rupees, we will just put it on the basis of some message that comes, or some television personality. The worst thing about these personalities or these experts or influencers is that, boss, if he could actually tell you that this stock will make money, would he make money, or he will tell you? He is actually, even Warren Buffett has been said, there is an accusation last week only, that he himself sold when he was actually coming on TV wanting you to buy, right? I mean, Warren Buffett, who is worth 100 billion or whatever number of trillion, billion, whatever comes, if he can do it, I mean, look at our guys who come on TV, right? They are still wanting to make money, and if they can predict future, that will be another issue, right? Nobody has been able to predict future, but to some extent you can guide. But if he could make money, he would rather make money himself rather than making money for you. So kindly take it as an entertainment and not as advice. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sir, this is Chinmay.
Thank you, Ashish. Just let me thank him before he leaves. Thank you, Ashish. I would invite questions anybody has on SEBI related issues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
IPF related.
In a sense, only one. Okay. All the 3-4 questions first, and then a composite answer by SEBI member, because he had to go, so I have to save time for that. And in addition to 4 of you, I have also one question. It's not a question, but what is the stage that we are in the performance evaluation agency, or validation agency for financial advisors? Now the questions. Very precise, just one sentence.
My shares were taken by IPF without intimating me or my banker, and now when I want to refund those shares, it's very difficult, very cumbersome process. Being a senior bank executive, I am not able to do it. What about the illiterate people? What about the all other investor who has kept 40-year, 50-year physical share?
Got your point. I think your question will be answered by IEBFA.
That is only one way they say online you can do it.
We'll discuss that.
Not physically.
Otherwise, he will leave without answering questions. Yes.
Yes, good afternoon. Sir, digital world and role of criticality is basically stands for the overlapping of information on the web portal. Multiple values given by the multiple agencies, and no one is authenticated by none of you. So what will be the source of authenticate information, valuation, or even in the insurance, multiple products shown by multiple agencies?
Point very well taken.
Yeah.
I think even SEBI is deliberating on that, and the question I asked.
Second thing, SEBI. Sir, why there is multiple taxes on the single product? If I invest 1,000 rupees, lakh rupees, and 1 crore rupees, then there will be a stamp duty initially, then again it will be a income tax, long-term capital income tax, and then again the advisor will has to pay the GST. Why is one single product, one simple tax? Why there is multiple taxation? Why?
This is a bigger question, and I am happy that I have retired.
Sir, regarding SEBI,
I was heading GST also.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I am D.K. Srivastava. I am a senior government officer. My question is to Mr. Bhatia. Recently, आपने सेबी ने एक फाइनेंशियल इन्फ्लुएंसर को 3 करोड़ का आपने फाइन लगाया था. Don't you think more and more such type of proactive action has to be taken? Because सारे चैनल YouTube पे आते रहते हैं और we are.
Sir, SEBI, there is no control on the share registrars. They are not replying to the investors properly, so there is no control of SEBI. That is what we feel prima facie. They simply say, you go, you complain to SEBI, whatever you want to do. So this kind of thing should not happen to the senior citizens. Share registrars.
Yeah, got your point. One more.
हेलो सर, अगर आप इसमें ARN होल्डर का देखेंगे म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में, तो अराउंड 3 लाख के आसपास ARN होल्डर्स हैं. और सेबी ने जो सेबी RIA रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइज़र, सेबी RRA विच इज़ रजिस्टर्ड रिसर्च एनालिस्ट, लास्ट 10 ईयर्स में आप देखेंगे तो हार्डली यू हैव 1000 आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइज़र हैं, 1000 के आसपास आपके रिसर्च एनालिस्ट हैं. सो इट्स अ कम्प्लीटली फेलियर. जो सेबी ने इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइज़र रिसर्च एनालिस्ट का लॉन्च किया वो कम्प्लीटली फेलियर रहा. थर्ड थिंग, आपने सेबी स्मार्ट स्टार्ट किया. स्मार्ट में भी आपके जो एक्टिवेट स्मार्ट हैं वो तो है ही नहीं एक्चुअली में, आपके ऑलमोस्ट 90% इनएक्टिव हैं, वो भी फेलियर रहा. ठीक है, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये रेगुलेटरी बॉडी जो है वो रियली रिक्वायर्ड, रेगुलेटरी बॉडी के ऊपर कौन है? हु इज़ कंट्रोलिंग द पीपल? दोज आर इन द रेगुलेटरी बॉडी. हु इज़ मेकिंग देम रेस्पॉन्सिबल? ठीक है, रेगुलेटरी बॉडी जो है वो आपके इंटरमीडियरीज है उसको तो कंट्रोल करता है, बट हु इज कंट्रोलिंग द रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज पर्सन?
Understood.
Who make them accountable?
There are 3 more people. Yeah.
Excuse me? Yeah, I have one small question.
Very precise only question.
अभी रिसेंटली ये हॉल में एक इंसिडेंट हो गया. मेरे पास जेके बैंक के 6000 शेयर थे डीमेट में. उसको मैंने इधर ही यहाँ बैठ के बेच डाला. 1.5 रुपया भाव नीचे आया. मैंने उसको बाय करने के लिए रखा तो ब्रोकर बोल रहा है मार्जिन लगेगा. ऐसा क्यों? जबकि मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में, मेरे डीमेट अकाउंट में 4 लाख रुपया था. वो 4 लाख रुपये का ही माल मुझे लेना पड़ा, लेकिन इंट्राडे करने के लिए मुझे मना कर दिया गया. एक क्वेश्चन ये. दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि 15,500 शेयर मेरे गुजरात एनआरई कॉक के मेरे पास डीमेट में पड़े हैं. कंपनी बंद हो गई, डीलिस्ट हो गई, लेकिन कंपनी शेयर होल्डर को तो निकाल दिया उसने अपने उसमें से, लेकिन कंपनी का धंधा चालू है, माल जा रहा है, माल आ रहा है, सब हो रहा है. तो उसके ऊपर कंपनी सेबी को वो कंपनी को सील करना चाहिए और प्रोड्यूसर को पैसा रिफंड करना चाहिए.
ठीक है, थैंक्स. I'll take only one more, and it's all coming to the same answer actually.
Sir,
yes, please.
My question is to Bhatia sir.
I will tell the answer.
Sir, in the speech mentioned that they are looking forward to bring regulation regarding
Which side
influencers.
Can you raise your hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he mentioned that there will be regulations for influencers and it is on the, it is in the process. But the problem is these influencers are causing a lot of damage to investors and to a lot of people who have not entered the market. The damage is going to be on a larger number. अगर ये प्रोसेस को अगर और 1 साल 1.5 साल लग गया, शायद बहुत सारे लोग अपना बहुत साल का पैसा, माँ बाप का पैसा खो बैठेंगे.
ठीक है. Okay. Yeah, all will have one answer, don't worry.
Sir, one more question to Hilda. एक मिनट, हिल्डा के लिए एक क्वेश्चन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. मेरा एज 67 है. मैंने 5 साल चोलामंडलम का पॉलिसी 5 साल भरा. 3 लाख का पॉलिसी था और 9,000 रुपया भरने के लिए आ रहा है। 5 साल मैंने कंटिन्यू भरा, लकीली मेरा हेल्थ अच्छा है, मेरा कोई क्लेम नहीं हुआ। छठे साल में कंपनी बोल रहा है मेरे को 29,000 रुपया दो, नहीं तो पॉलिसी कैंसिल हो जाएगा। अभी सीनियर सिटीजन 60 से मेरा इनकम टोटली बंद है, मैं टोटली डिपेंडेंट हूँ, मेरा जो लिमिटेड इनकम है उसके लिए। अभी मैं 29 कैसे भरूंगा और कौन सी कंपनी मेरे को 9,000 रुपये में दूसरा कंपनी पॉलिसी देगा, कौन सा कंपनी देगा? तो मेरा आपको एक सजेशन ये है कि जो सीनियर सिटीजन का जो पॉलिसी जूना चालू है उस जो रेट पे वो रेट कंटिन्यू रहना चाहिए। जो नया आता है आदमी उसको
हमने पहले सेबी मेंबर चले जाएंगे करके बात कर रहे हैं, आप इंश्योरेंस पे काहे के लिए आ गए?
नहीं, मेरा जरा बोलने का थोड़ा
नहीं
मैं बैठे हैं, मैं आपका बात समझ लिया, मैं आपको आंसर दे दूंगा।
अच्छा सुनिए ना सर, अभी दूसरा
प्लीज
एक मिनट
प्लीज विल यू सिट डाउन, प्लीज विल यू सिट डाउन।
मैं आपका बात अलग से सुनूंगा, मैं वादा
प्लीज यू डिड नॉट रिस्पोंड नाउ मिस्टर पटनायक, यू डिड नॉट रिस्पोंड नाउ, लेट अस लिसन टू द सेबी फर्स्ट, फिर उसके बाद आपका इंश्योरेंस।
My question, one question here.
Yeah.
So my question is both for SEBI.
Are we really going into individual complaints and share?
That's what.
Sir,
So
I have got a very general question.
My question
if
is,
you are ready to take. That's an individual.
I can only request you give it in writing and we can place it before the. The point is well taken.
My question.
So we'll need to close. It's 5 o'clock. We have some people catching the flights.
Yes, he has not
Sir,
answered
my
the question.
one general question.
I don't think
to the
anybody needs
SEBI.
an answer.
My question is actually to SEBI and Nilesh ji both, because Nilesh ji works with PMO, right? So for NCLT,
He doesn't work with PMO.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
advises with PMO.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
NCLT Act, are we expecting any changes or improvement? Because many companies are going into NCLT and getting literally bankrupted, unlisted from SEBI, and then industrialists are buying those companies and
Correct.
it
So
is
we
a
got
loss.
this question similar to Gujarat NAD. We will take that. Thank you so much. So we close for the questions. I would request. Thank you so
we
much.
Can take the all other question answer during tea time. Let me have a composite answer from SEBI member. The rest of the question answers we can discuss during the tea time. And I'll give only 1 minute to Deepanita to formally thank everybody after the SEBI member answers. There will be nothing in between. Please hold on. Yeah, Mr. Bhatia, please.
So actually first on the validation piece. So the discussion paper was floated. We have got all the feedback. And the next step is that we are going to form a technical group. Now on the validation part, let me tell you it is not easy. We have one of the questions also talked about 3 lakh ARNs and only 1,000 distributors. I think if we can go to that kind of model where the distribution is paid by the mutual fund, for example, the system becomes so clean. So assuming that today you have an AUM of about 46 lakh crores, around 22, 23 is in equities, assume that 0.5% is the fee. I'm just taking a random number. About 10,000 is paid by the mutual fund industry directly every month, right? So if this kind of validation thing also comes about here, the 2 or 3 discussion papers that we have, number 1 on validation, number 2 on payments, it gets more credibility into the system, and if we are able to do it, it will again be a first in the world. Okay, and we do realize that the investment advisor committee is very small. It needs to become bigger. As I said, हर एक मोहल्ले में एक advisor होना चाहिए because it is your financial health. On the taxation, I have again nothing to say, but again, if you are buying a house, right, what are the different taxes that you pay there? You'll pay municipal taxes, you'll pay house taxes, you'll pay something to electricity, something to whatever. So I think this question should have been directed to the Department of Revenue, Government of India. On fin-influencers, again, very difficult to catch them, right? The fact that we've done one case is a very, very big achievement because the rigor of investigation that SAT expects out of us is like a proper legal matter. So catching them, getting their telephone details, catching the cell details, so on and so forth, takes a lot of time. They are here today, tomorrow they are out. So whatever we can do, at least we will, some basic things would be that a regulated entity cannot go to a fin-influencer, right? That's a very, very big kind of a thing. On your thing about J&K Bank, you sold and you purchased, that's a rule. Again, all the settlements are on gross basis, but that has actually made the system safer actually, very, very frankly. On Gujarat NRE को अगर आपके पास खबर थी आपको पहले ही बेच देना चाहिए था, very frankly. On yeah, I think I've handled all. Thank you so much.
Actually, you handled it 2 seconds before also. So it was really nice for having the patience to answer all these questions. Somebody was asking SEBI के सबके ऊपर है, SEBI के ऊपर कौन है? SEBI के ऊपर SAT है, एक appellate authority number 1. SEBI के ऊपर High Court है और SEBI के ऊपर Supreme Court भी है. I won't say government है क्योंकि they are independent regulators, but government also gives its contribution in terms of policy advice and policy changes, which is a mutual between the regulators and the government.
SEBI और स्मार्ट के बीच में अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है तो उसमें थर्ड पार्टी को किसके अपील कर सकते हैं? Because that is not there. Because that is not for SEBI स्मार्ट के बीच में अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है तो that नहीं आएगा. Because स्मार्ट is not the investor.
So please write to us. Please write to us through the scores. और अगर आपको set okay, but smart के लिए there is regulation, right? There is. हाँ ठीक है, उसके लिए भी please put it on score. If you still have a problem, please write to me directly.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry,
Bhatia.
we are running out of time.
Yeah, please. Let
Thank
me
you,
thank Mr.
panelists.
Bhatia. He came from Ahmedabad just to hear you people and explain. Thanks to you. Big applause. Now, Deepa.
Lastly, I would like to call Dr. Tirthankar Patnaik, economist of NSE, to address the audience with the vote of thanks.
But before that, Tirthankar, I think one insurance sector answer was left out. And another IEPF, may I invite you to the tea where IEPF GM will also be available. We'll discuss it there. And the insurance thing also, maybe you can bilaterally sort out. We can discuss over tea if it is okay. So now, Tirthankar, you can give your formal vote of thanks. And thank you everybody for being here. Tirthankar, please.
Thank you, Dr. Mahapatra. I think one program that one can measure the success of one program is whether at the end of the program did you want more. With the way we asked questions today, with the way we participated today, I think that question was comprehensively answered. I mean, each one of the fellow panelists actually deserves a standing ovation. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are extremely grateful to IEPFA and NCAER for agreeing to organize this event with us. And special thanks for Dr. Mahapatra. Sir, you conducted the proceedings admirably, sir. Thank you. I also thank Colonel Tushar Anand. Thank you, sir, for giving us an idea about what the activities of the IEPFA is. I actually also wanted to summarize key points from each of the speakers, but Dr. Mahapatra stole my thunder right there. He actually did it well. I absolutely thank the audience. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for coming out in large numbers. Your response has been absolutely overwhelming.
We truly appreciate the support and cooperation we receive from every one of our colleagues at NSC and our MD and CEO Ashish Kumar Chauhan for organizing in this event. And he spent so much time with us here. Once again, thank you everyone. Thank you.